Chief Justice Raymond Zondo expected to say if he will recuse himself from the state capture inquiry. Former President Jacob Zuma has applied for his recusal, saying the inquiry chair is biased. So, will he stay or will he go? Michael Appel, you're standing by there with Thulasizwe Simelane. Since yesterday, we still live in this anticipation.
That's right, Bradan, but that's why I put that little caveat in the live headline. We are expected to find out at 10 a.m. what Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's decision is, because in the last couple of minutes, we've just received an updated statement from the Commission. There's been an extension. Let me bring Thulasizwe Simelane in here. 5 hours he's asked for, 5 hours extra. What do you think could inform this request?
The statement landing at 3 minutes past 9. This after you and I had been planning out how we're going to be talking about. It's a good signal that we've not received a signal that he's asking for more time, right? Because yesterday, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo had said, if I'm unable to deliver the decision at 10, I will let you know in advance. As we hit 9 o'clock, you and I thought, it's looking good.
Smooth sailing till 10. Smooth sailing.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, so he's pushing it back to 3 p.m. I think it's fully understandable, Mike, given the magnitude of the decision that has to be taken. Judges usually take time to work on their judgments because also, you want it to be unassailable on points of law, and also if you're making findings of fact. Also, those you want them to be right on the money, right? So that it's difficult to take you on appeal if it's an appealable decision, or on review or something like that, such that a higher court or a higher forum can't come to the conclusion that you didn't exercise due diligence. There's a whole lot that goes into it. I mean, there's checking international law, there's checking precedent in other jurisdictions in other countries. How did a judge in a similar situation in another comparable legal system deal with this question that I'm faced with? And you incorporate all of those, you incorporate the law. What does the law, the Commissions Act, for example, what does it say about the role of the chairperson and other various laws that come into play? And then you take the facts and the arguments that were presented before you, and you make a logical, almost essay that you back up with quotes, etc., attributions elsewhere that strengthen your decision. I do think that it does take time, and you could tell even yesterday that he had been working on it, was Deputy Justice Raymond Zondo.
Well, one wonders how much sleep the man has gotten over the last few days. It's a tall order. In a normal criminal court, and we must stress this is not a court of law, it's not a criminal trial, certainly, but on issues like this, recusal applications, judgments, essentially, judges take days, weeks. We've asked them to do it in 1.5. It's a tall order.
It really is. But also my sense, though, Michael, is, with Justice Raymond Zondo being who he is, I do suspect that at the point at which the initial signal was given that we will be bringing an application for your recusal, Chair, because we believe that, there's a reasonable apprehension of bias based on a number of factors. I'd be surprised if he didn't start already then to check what are the relevant prescripts that I might need to start thinking about well in advance. Also remembering that, he does have people working with him, working in his office. He's not literally just sitting there by himself and, paging through these law books and looking for precedent, etc. He's got people that do assist him. So I think he had a bit of that, lead time, as it were, and also time for him to start pondering what are the possibilities. But of course it was difficult for him to start shaping anything in the form of a judgment or a decision until he had heard the arguments. So you can think about the applicable law, you can think about the precedent that applies, but you can't really think about what exactly are they going to argue before me in terms of why I should recuse myself.
Yeah, you can't put the cart before the horse. Before you've heard those arguments. But of course those arguments should be nothing new to him, as it's all set out in the 100+ pages.
Yeah.
So you know, as some journalists do, you write the body, you leave the top line.
That's you, Michael.
But you need to leave yourself open to persuasion. And that's one of the principles here. Is he open to persuasion? Does he have an open mind?
Yeah, absolutely. That is what it boils down to. So if he decides not to recuse himself, his answer will basically amount to, I may have formed views. I may have expressed shock and outrage at some of the things I've been hearing during the course of this commission. I may have asked questions that to you seem like I've taken a position, but actually I continue to have an open mind, open to being persuaded by your arguments, open to being persuaded by the evidence that is presented before me. If he goes the other way and decides that actually I'm recusing myself, it will be a signal that says, actually you are right. I don't have, having looked at everything you've pointed out to me, a person can believe that I don't have an open mind and I'm unlikely to be persuaded no matter how much you put by way of arguments as the Zuma legal team.
The inquiry legal team adamant that the Deputy Chief Justice has done nothing except exercise his mandate with asking those questions, testing those versions. If it makes you uncomfortable that Mr. Zuma's name is being raised, that's because his name is included in the terms of reference of this very commission. Of course his name would come up.
Advocate Paul Pretorius saying that this is an inquisitorial process and you are the main inquisitor, Chair. Actually, it's not our job to test out versions of witnesses. It's your job to question them and basically to take them through the various scenarios, the rigors, test the rigors of what they are presenting before you. So on their version, he's done nothing but what he was supposed to do. This, of course, being an answer to the argument by Moses Kakane on the first day when we came here on Monday, that actually some of the positions that Chairperson Raymond Zondo has taken have, quote-unquote, crossed the line. And basically a reasonable witness in Mr. Zuma's position, sitting at home and watching people testifying about him, would have been frightened by some of what, and that's a word that he used, frightened by some of what he would have been hearing coming from the commission chairperson, as someone who's supposed to remain with an open mind, and enforcing this feeling on the part of Mr. Zuma, at least according to Mr. Skakane's argument, that he's coming here already prejudged, already a narrative laid out, and is simply being taken through the paces and being taken to, quote-unquote, the slaughterhouse.
The slaughterhouse, yeah. Some of the strange analogies that were used by Moses Kakane, showing just how aggrieved his client is by having to come to what he believes was the culmination of a character assassination plot. Bradan, a new countdown begins. When we got here at 6 this morning, it was the countdown to 10. Now at 9 o'clock, the countdown begins to 3 p.m.
Yeah, and to be fair to the Deputy Chief Justice, he did indicate yesterday when he was announcing that he'll target for 10 o'clock, but it might be 11 o'clock, it might be 12 o'clock, or another time, and that there will be an update this morning. I'm holding this update in my hand here. It's only got 2 points, a very short statement, Michael and Thulasizwe, just talking exactly about that. It's been issued by the Secretary of the Commission, Professor Itumeleng Musala. So we have to wait for the chairperson to deliver his ruling at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Meanwhile, all kinds of analysis will continue until then. Thank you very much, Michael Appel and Thulasizwe Simelane.